Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Center with the supreme, scintillating, sensational Swiss Army Sean. And tonight, our guest is none other than Frankie Pennington of Parx Frame. Frankie, how are you this evening? Think you're muted. There you go. How are you tonight? And now we can't hear Frankie. Here we go with the technology problems again. Unfortunately,
oh man.
Sometimes, Frankie, the technology comes in and out on us. I don't know why, but we can't hear you. So if you could click out and come back in, we'd greatly appreciate it, because I don't know why that works sometimes with the guests. Maybe it's an ongoing joke, and Sean and I aren't familiar with it, but for some reason, the tech plays tricks on the guests. So if you can click out, come back in, that'd be great. I don't know why that is, Sean, but that's the funniest thing.
We literally talked to them 30 seconds later. We can't hear them. At least you can hear
30,
us.
It's like 10 seconds because beforehand, I just kind of let everybody know what we're going to do. It's going to be a little bit of music. And then after the music, we're going to bring you up and, we'll talk. And, I'll have my superlatives for Sean is our inside joke. Can you hear us now, Frankie?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Beautiful. Now we can hear you. I don't know what it is, but sometimes the technology wants to play games with the guests. If it would be one thing if it were Sean or me, but the guests, they must think, what's up with this half-ass organization over here? But anyway, you're in Philadelphia. You're riding at Parx. I'm going to start with the hard stuff. I'm really going to get into something I hope doesn't bother you that I bring this up, but you're a Cowboys fan living in Philadelphia. How does that happen?
Well, I'm born in West Texas, so I got to support where I grew up, and I'm a huge Cowboys fan.
So obviously the folks there know you've been around long enough to Parx. They know that you're a Cowboys fan. It's probably no secret. So in a year like this, do they rib you, the fans and stuff? Like, especially after the Cowboys lost this year to the Eagles? Like, how much do you hear about that?
Oh yeah, especially when the Cowboys lose to the Eagles. I hear about it right away. I get text messages right away. They know as soon as the Cowboys lose, they let me know. But if the Cowboys win, it's pretty silent over here.
Crickets, huh?
Yeah.
So there have been no batteries, hopefully, because the Philadelphia fans, they're not even kind to Santa Claus. All right.
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
So you mentioned you come from West Texas, so bring us back to there, because I read that's where you got introduced to horse racing. So fill us in on how all that got started in the cotton fields of Texas.
Well, my stepdad, he trained horses. Rodney Faulkner, and he met my mom, and he ended up training horses and got me involved in it, and I just happened to be the right size and everything for it, and started galloping out in the cotton fields. He used to pony me, get me started, and that's where I breezed my first horse. Me and my stepfather together, we breezed in the cotton fields in West Texas.
Ah, nice. So from there, you, as a really young man, like what, about 15, 16 years old, you headed off to Ohio. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, it's pretty young kid.
What was that like, being so young in a sport that, you read a lot about folks. Sometimes it can be very consuming to be a jockey at a young age, especially if you have some success. So, I mean, that's really young. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was for me, it was always exciting because I just love horses and horse racing. Once my mom met my stepfather, it was always something that I was very big into. So for me, I was always into it. I used to get up me and my mom used to get up 4:30 and go feed the horses in Texas at the farm. And while my stepdad, he worked at a refinery, I believe at the time. And we used to get up every morning and go do that. And to me, it was a great thing for me. I mean, keep you out of trouble, keep you doing something that you loved. And what's better than horse racing?
Not a whole lot, especially when you win. It's not so much fun when you don't win, but when you win, it's great. I mean, I'm sure that's the same for jockeys and bettors. We'll get to to the wins you had today and the wins overall in just a moment. But one of the things that's been consistent for you, I looked on Equibase, and year after year, top 100 in winnings, top 30 in winnings, top 50 in winnings, top 20 in winnings. I mean, the one word there is consistency. I think that best describes your performance since pretty much the start. What do you attribute all of the continued success to?
I'm very fortunate. I got a good agent, Robert Martell, who works hard for me, and we're like family. He took me in when I was 16, and we've been very close. And all the owners and trainers, I met a lot of good people, a lot of good trainers, and they've been very loyal and stuck with me for a long time. And I can't thank them enough for that.
Indeed. So today you had a fantastic day, right, Sean? Tell us a little bit about Frankie's day today.
Yeah, you had 3 wins, all a slop in the rain. One you hit on a big price too. Tell us about that and tell us about the conditions. Apparently you and the horses loved it.
Yeah, the one that paid a lot was for Frank Polera, great guy. Knew me since I was 16 when I first came here, and just a good guy. And it was very nice to win for a guy like him, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Did the track have a certain way of playing today, or did it just kind of fall in line?
I mean, it worked out good for us, but I mean, the track had a lot of water on it, so it was one of those tracks where either the horse likes it or they don't.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and Rich said you're a Cowboys fan, so the irony about this for people that don't know, on PA Derby Day, you rode a horse B-Doc and you got to meet Brian Dawkins.
Yeah,
tell us about that.
Oh, it was awesome. What a classy guy. Just classy guy. And right, B-Doc in the Pennsylvania Derby was it was tremendous. And they all kind of gave me the stink eye. The owner gave me the stink eye, but it's all good. They all play around and stuff. It's all good.
Tell us about what goes on a day like that. Since that's your local track, all these other people come in. Is it like one of those like defend your territory type deal, or is it just, like have fun with it?
Commercial, you guys are in there. This is our house.
No, you get a lot of those good riders that ship in, and it's I don't know how to say it. It's good. It's good when they come in and you get to meet new riders and riders that have been so successful over all these years. And I don't think it's more like that. I think every time every rider's going out there, we're going out there to win. No matter you're at home or you're away, you're always trying to get that win for you and the owner and trainer.
How much did the track play different that day than your normal day?
On PA Derby Day, or
yeah, or any special day? Does it usually tend to be faster?
It always seems like it could be a little quicker on the bigger days. Seems like the times run a little quicker, but it's something you just adjust to when you watch the races.
Now that's the day you met Sean. I got a question. Were all the women and children running for the hills when Sean came tumbling down the hey, Frankie?
Nah, Sean was it was very nice to meet Sean. Very nice guy, and it was very good to meet him.
Yeah, I got to tell Frankie how I had to, track him down a couple times here. Finally had the access to be on the other side to actually talk to him a little bit.
Yeah.
Quick question for you from Jeff Doyle. Now, I read somewhere that, or actually watched you in an interview where you talked about this gentleman being sort of a mentor for you, but Stuart Elliott, what was it like to ride with him on a daily basis there? It comes from Jeffrey Doyle.
Oh, Stewie was the best. Stewie, he's like family to me. We used to go to fishing tournaments every Tuesday after the races, and Stewie's one of those guys that you could always watch and learn something from, because even now as he rides, like the guy still rides like he's 20 something. He's Stuart Elliott's unbelievable.
So you would go to fishing tournaments on Tuesdays. Now, did you enter them or were you watching them?
No, we entered them. Me and him, we fished every Tuesday in the tournaments.
So do you follow fishing then? Like the whole controversy this year? Did you see that with the lead weights?
Yeah, that's crazy. Even me and my dad, who still lives in West Texas, we were talking, like, even when you go out to go fish, what you think is like for a fun, relaxing sport, how like it's crazy how stuff like that still goes on in a sport like that.
I mean, I don't even know how you think about something like that. I mean, has a thought like that ever even, like, I'm not going to say has a thought like that crossed your mind, but how does something like that even happen? I know horse racing has a lot of issues at times with right. People. I had read, and there was an article where one day you got an amount where they searched the room and they found an electronic device. I don't know who the other jockey was, but just the headline. So when something like that happens, like, what's the feeling? Like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, most of us guys, we're trying to make an honest living, and do the best we can. And there's, in every sport, there's always something, don't matter what sport it is. But when I saw the fishing, when they put the lead weights in there, that was crazy to me.
Yes, borderline unbelievable, right, Sean? We were talking about, it was such a thing that we were talking about it on a horse racing show.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, see, you say, where do you get the idea? And it just takes that one person to think of the idea. And now all these people are thinking of other ways besides that to even cheat. and it's keeping up with the Joneses too. And I'm sure that's what happens in horse racing too. Is it's
right.
It's your daily life and stuff. So how do you like the? I guess you guys are just starting 40 minutes early this week, and then next week you go back to regular schedule.
I believe so. Yeah, hey, it's good. Anytime you can get extra races in, ride extra horses. I mean, it's always a good thing. I mean, that last race gets a little close to dark, but they're making it happen.
I would ask you day racing or night racing, but since you've stayed at Parx so long, it's got to be that you love day racing.
Oh, 100%.
Now, I read that you stay at Parx because you've had other offers, I'm sure, successful if you've been to go other places because of the family. You have 2 young kids, right? And they do some horse riding. So what type of riding do they do?
Well, my daughter, she does dressage and jumping. And my son, me and him, we've been getting into roping lately. We've been doing a lot of roping with Joe Williams. He's a horseshoer here at Parx Racing, and he's been getting us going. And my wife does a lot of showing too. So
you say roping, that you mean like rodeo stuff, or you're on it and you lasso and catch the cow type thing?
Yeah.
Hey, all right, I got it. So is he planning on going in the rodeo? I mean, how does that make you feel? That's got to make you a little nervous.
He's I'm just happy he's into the horses. Early on he wasn't too much into it, but now he's gotten into it. Like he really likes the roping, and whatever he likes, I'm happy. Anything to do with horses, me and my wife are very excited for it.
Now you mentioned horses, you and your wife being excited. I read that you have a farm. You can count the number of, you can count the number of dogs that you have, but you can't count the number of horses. How many horses do you have on your farm?
I lost count. My wife tells me 8, but I got a feeling there's a lot more than that.
Are these horses like that you rescue from, like, you're not necessarily rescue, but like aftercare horses from the thoroughbreds, or just like the show horses? What type of horses do you have?
Well, my wife, she breaks them. We break them. We both break them together, but she'll sell ponies, and she did a layup care for horses for trainers and stuff, and she's a very good horse woman. You can say that she knows horses. That's for sure.
Well, she was a jockey when you met her, right? That's how that all started.
Yes. Yeah.
Indeed. So it seems to be a little bit of love in the jocks room. There would almost be like, you see a lot of that going on in that business, and it probably because it's a job that somebody in that business would only be able to understand the kind of hours that you folks put in. So it would seem to me that would make a great one of those like reality TV shows. What do you think? Should we get one started somewhere? What track do you think would be the best for it?
What's that, bud?
I said it seems like that would make, because it seems like I've read a lot of the jockeys.
Right.
There's the female and male jockeys, because of the work that it requires. It seems to be there is some dating in that pool. So I feel like it would be a great place to have one of those like reality TV series. So which track do you think would be the best for that? Well, which one do you think would have the most drama?
Listen, you can come here to my house. You'll have kids screaming, dogs barking. You could try to help me count how many horses are in the We'll have a good time.
Well, at least you don't get shot with Nerf guns like Sean, right?
Yeah.
Not today.
No, yeah, eventually. Can you explain the dressage horses a little bit? Because that's funny that you brought up that, because my mom actually called me the other night. She ran into a person that takes care of Ravel. It's like the best dressage horse.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit?
I have no idea. My wife tells me, hey, sit here and film. So I sit there and film for her. But when it comes to dressage and jumping and showing, I have no idea. No clue.
All right. Well, then on your career, let's get back to your career. So you've had a storied career. You've been riding for almost 20 years now. Yeah. I put your 111. I don't even know if you know that you're aware of this. I put your 111 wins away from 3,000. Now you're obviously 108. So out of all those wins, what's the one that sticks out the most to you?
I don't know which one sticks out the most, but one of the horses that sticks out the most to me was Miss Blue Tie-Dye. She was a filly I went around riding everywhere, and she was just one of those solid fillies that put everything in every time she ran, and she was just a fun horse to ride.
Do you have a horse that you ride right now that's still active that you really like to ride?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a few good horses active now that I like to ride. Baron's one of them for Butch Reed. He's another one, older class horse that just who's a stud, and you would never think that because the way he acts and moves on, he's just all about business. You think he's a pony himself until the gates open, then he turns into a different horse.
What about horses like B-Dog that you get to ride on PA Derby Day, and then he goes, at other tracks on big race days? And I know he just had a dead heat in one of the big races.
Yeah.
Is that one that you like really sit there and root for that horse?
Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime those guys give me an opportunity and you get to see the horse go off and still win and, win big races and in the dead heat, like was it Breeders' Cup race, right?
I think it was. I think it was one of the first or second race on Breeders' Cup Day, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I mean, that's awesome for Doug O'Neill, who's an awesome trainer, and get to see a horse like that for the owner, Bessiger, and it's awesome.
Do you ever think to yourself you should be the one there?
I'm a team player. Like I'm happy. I get there. They put me on the horses. I get to ride. If it comes, it comes. I'm just very grateful and thankful for everything that I've got so far.
So you ride at Parx, one reason, again, because you can be by your family all the time. It's a year-round track. But one of the things about a year-round track, I'd imagine, is the conditions change from spring to fall to winter to summer. Now we're in that change. So when the seasons change, how does the track change, and how does that change your riding?
Well, it's mostly depends on like the track. Most of the time in the wintertime, they add more dirt and stuff to it and chemicals so it don't freeze up. So in the wintertime, it will get heavier. So usually in times like that, I mean, you kind of got to watch, some of the races and kind of go off of that. But, I mean, it can change anytime. I mean, one day it can be all speed favor and you can be on the best horse that comes from out of it. But if you ain't in the lead that day, then you got no shot.
It seemed like Monday was like that.
Right.
We do a handicapping show where we do Parx every Monday, now every Monday and Tuesday. And it just seemed like every horse that popped out to the front, had a really good shot of winning. So when something like that happens, how quick do you guys recognize the track bias versus, say, what somebody like us might is? After the first race, 2 races, 3 races, how long does it take for you to go, wow, track's playing quick, got to get up front?
Usually after you watch the first one, then like, all right, well, they're winning on the lead, so you got to try to keep the horse in contention as best as they can. But at the same time, you're trying not to change the horse's running style too, because if you got a horse that comes from off the pace and then you send them the whole way, chances are you're not going to get nothing.
Mm-hmm. So Terry says, our show, Terry A, who we do the handicapping on Monday with, which do you like to ride better, Colts or fillies?
I don't know. That's kind of a toss-up. I guess it all depends on them. Fillies, I feel like fillies you got to be a little more softer and easier with. And I feel like the boys, the Colts, you kind of got to be a little more tougher with them.
Mm-hmm. So a little more stern. Let's go. Versus,
yeah.
Come on, let's go, please. Yes.
The Colts kind of need it because they're like boys. They're like boys looking to play around all the time. Where fillies, you kind of got to be a little more gentle with them.
And so when a horse is getting a little bit like distracted, how do you, as a jockey in the course of the race, do you get him to focus? Now, imagine prior to Hissa, you'd give him a crack, but now with Hissa, you're only allowed 6 cracks. And if a horse is a little bit distracted, are you reluctant to give him a crack because of the new Hissa rules? Or, do you kind of pat him, or what do you do to get him in line?
Well, I kind of tap him on the shoulder or kind of smooch to him. But with the whips they got now with the 360s, they make more noise than anything. Like you could smack your hand as hard as you want. They make more noise than anything. But even the noise, sometimes popping them on the shoulder, they'll kind of like, okay, let me keep focusing.
Sean,
Rich wants to get cracked by one of those whips.
No,
just
not
to do
get cracked. I said I'll do something for charity. I said because we talk about, and I said, well, people talk about the whips and how the whips hurt. I said I'd be willing for charity to take a crack, right? A couple of them, 6 of them, what Hissa allows, and people can donate $1 or $10 for every crack I take. And I also said I'd be willing to take one of those buzzers that the people get caught with every now and then, and see how jolting it really is, and what kind of impact it would have. So someday we'll actually do that. We haven't done that yet. But Sean said he was going to dance TikTok in in Speedo. So what would you rather see? Me get whipped with the whip or Sean dancing on TikTok in Speedo?
I really hope he answers the whip here.
I kind of like to see both. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yes, I want to see Sean in the TikTok. Sorry, hold on. Listen.
And we got a TikTok now.
Here's a
too,
quick question
so,
for you. Do you sing during the race? That seems like a interesting question.
No, I don't sing.
Do you sing not at the races, like off the track? Is there something behind that question, or just not reading too much into it?
No, my wife loves hearing me sing. I sing to her every time I'm in the shower. She enjoys it.
Well, you know, we have to ask you to sing now.
I'll only save that for her. She gets jealous when I sing it to other people. So
I was gonna say she's right there. She's right there though. So you are singing to her.
Yeah,
just on camera.
Well, we got a Randy Macho Man Savage impersonation last night. I mean, we can go with a couple bars. All right. So when you're singing, who do you like to sing? Let's go there.
I'm in the older country. I don't know. I like George Strait. There's George Jones. I'm into some older country, so in my voice, I might start singing. You guys might cut me off right away, so I'm just gonna hold that one.
Nah, yeah, I can imagine. No, I would expect a West Texas kid to be into country music for sure. Sean says he wants to. I mean, Terry says Sean in the Speedo. I don't know what that means, but we'll leave that one go from there for sure.
I don't know.
So now I read that for you, you get ready by looking at replays. Yes. And you look at the past performances, but was something that you said about the replays that caught my attention. You said you can watch the replays and you can see what horses like and what they don't like. So kind of what is a tell if I'm watching the races of something a horse would like versus something that they wouldn't like?
Well, you know, for someone, you know what I mean? Like if I haven't rode the horse yet, so I'll watch a replay and see maybe if the horse is getting sent to try to make the lead, maybe this is speed favoring day and the rider was sending the horse hard. You can kind of look at the horse and see like if they're putting their head up if they don't like it, or maybe if the way the rider rode him previously, you know, had a nice hold on the horse and the horse was running nice in the bit. So I'll watch that and kind of see what the horse responded the best to, and hopefully get the best result out of it.
Yeah, because that's always something I'm watching the races to try to get a hint from a handicapping perspective, how to better identify horses that may or may not like something. Sean, when you look at the races, what are you looking at?
I usually look at something, you know, if they can change or if they got a bad trip or something like that. The typical stuff, or what jockey strengths are. Frankie, are you another one that would prefer turf over dirt, or do you prefer the dirt?
You know, I enjoy both. So whatever one is good for me. I enjoy riding both, especially when you got the right horse. It makes it especially on the grass. If you got the right horse on the grass, it's a lot of fun.
Do you have more fun riding a different style? I'm sure you're going to say either styles, either way, but do you have more fun or more deserving victory, you know, more thrilling victory by a different style?
No, not really. I mean, listen, a win's a win. Like it don't matter, you know, when doesn't matter if it's cheap or big. If you win, it's a great feeling inside.
I always vision, even when I was a kid, me and my brother used to ride bikes, and it didn't work the way I thought because I was young. But I'd leave him get a big lead so I could try to come catch him at the wire. It doesn't work on bikes, but I always thought that would be more thrilling to do it that way.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have that closer and you're sitting behind horses and the horse is very responsive, and you just sometimes, most of the times in your head, you're like, all right, I got it. But sometimes you can still get, you know, you got another horse that's running even harder than you. But it's always nice when you're sitting behind 3 or 4 horses with a ton of horse just going, man, it's just a waiting game from here.
So quick Parx specific question for you. Throughout the year, because we do, like I said, a handicapping show, it seems to me that the inside does pretty well most of the time at Parx. If you get the one horse, a lot of times you do catch it, but for some reason, it seems to be a little bit of a penalty at 6 furlongs. Is there something about the starting gate at 6 furlongs that penalizes the rail horse? What? Because 5.5, it does fine. 6.5 does fine. Oddly, 6, not so good. Is there something up with that?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the horses that's drawn the insides, maybe.
Just a weird coincidence on that particular race. All right. So you're a young man, as Sean mentioned. You're not all that far away from 3,000 wins. In the back of your mind, do you have a target number?
To me, if I can keep doing what I'm doing, riding for the people I'm riding for, and support my family, I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. I get to do what I love. There's a lot of people, they got to go to work and call it work. I get to go to work and enjoy it and have fun with it.
I will have to imagine so with that job, I imagine when you first do it, there's a lot of adrenaline, right? When you first get started. Is the adrenaline the same now as it was back then, or does the experience kind of take some of that away and it's been replaced really more with anticipation of how to win this one?
Yeah, I can see that. It's always, when I first started, it was all about leaving the gate, couldn't wait to get out of the gate. And, but now it's all, I guess I look more into it now that I'm older and been riding longer into the race.
Terry has another question for you. This is interesting. Do horses know when they win? Do they act differently when they win versus when they don't win?
Absolutely. And I've had horses that got beat a nose, and you can tell the difference when they get beat a nose. Not all horses, but some horses, they get mad, they come back, they train different. It's amazing. They know, they're like they're athletes, and they want to win just as bad as we do.
They get a little salty when they lose. Well, I'm glad they're not like me, because sometimes my phone goes flying when things don't go my way. So good thing horses don't have phones.
That's interesting. How do you tell that they act differently that way?
They just that's why I always turn them out when I win a race. I always turn them out and let them know, you did it, that was you. You did a great job, and always give them a pet, let them know that they did a great job, and I don't know what it is, but they know. They know.
I'd imagine it's like a dog, or like any other animal, though. When they do well and they get rewarded for it, they understand the reward system, right? They can tell from your tone that they've done well, for sure, unquestionably. Sean, anything else? Go ahead. You do.
Well, I was going to say, did you ever have any horse that kind of wanted to go over to the winner's circle and actually didn't win, but kind of knew the way? Now that you're bringing this up, I'm just thinking about that.
They might have tried, but I might have been turning their head a little to go back to where they were.
And then I'll also ask you, what's your daily schedule look like?
Usually on my off days, my wife just pampers me all day. But she's my wife's a very hard worker. She works at the barn all day long. So on my off days, I go and help her. She gets the horses ready. Me, my wife, the kids, we all ride together. We got an arena here. And then on the days that I race, I'm usually up early in the morning. Me and my agent will go breeze horses, walk around, see people, and get ready for work.
Then my other question would be, when you first came in the jock room, and you already said about Stuart Elliott, who were your favorite jockeys in the room? And right now, who are your favorite jockeys in the room?
I met a lot of good people throughout riding, and I really like Carmouche, Kendrick Carmouche. He's like, me and him been really good, close friends the whole time. And there's a ton of guys. You got Joel Rosario, who's unbelievable. There's so many good riders out there.
Mm-hmm. You just like him better when he's in New York and he's not down in Philadelphia winning races, right? When you hear he's coming, oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Sean?
No, that's what I got.
That's it for me too. Frankie, we appreciate you coming in tonight. Look forward to and next year, make sure during Parx Pennsylvania Derby Day, you're hiding, because Sean will come on for you.
He's got to be wearing that bikini when he comes.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh,
now we have it. Now we know what's on tap. We got a 2023 goal, compliments of Frankie. That's going to be the case.
You know how quick that crowd will clear out?
Yeah.
Well, to make it even better, we're going to make it a Dallas Cowboys Speedo. How about that?
Oh, there we go. I'll buy it for you. How about that? I'll buy it. You wear it, I'll buy it.
I won't make it out alive.
All right, Frankie. Well, thank you for the idea. I'm certainly looking forward to that more than anything else in 2023. For that, I'll make my way out to Philadelphia as well. Have a fantastic evening.
You guys have a blessed night.
Thank you. You as
too.
well.
Thanks, Frankie.
Well, there you have it, Sean. You're going to wear a Dallas Cowboys Speedo next year at the Pennsylvania Derby.
And you guys just come up with ideas, and just throw it at me without any care. I don't need to make it out of Parx. you'll find a replacement.
No, you'll make it out of Parx. The whole world will know that. I mean, instead of having 100,000 people there, they'll have 300,000 people when they find out what the halftime entertainment is.
Yeah, they're gonna need a little, you know how they get the longer post times, which you really didn't have on PA Derby Day, but or at least it didn't feel like it if they did.
It's because it's in the middle of the summer, Sean. They don't run out of daylight, right?
They definitely will have to next year if that's happening.
Indeed, for sure. All right. Well, that takes us wire to wire next week. Well, if you haven't, before we go off to that, make sure you head off to our Horse Racing Today channel, Horse Racing Radar channel on YouTube. If you haven't done so, hit that like button. Follow us on the social sites. We also have TikTok now. Our Jamie Martinez is doing a phenomenal job of putting up some content. Man, we got 100 subscribers in no time flat there. So head on over there. Jamie's putting up some awesome content on TikTok. And so Sean will shortly have to do his dance there.
You know what? I actually I published my first one, with a video from Penn National at May. I just wanted to figure it out. So it's kind of addicting to do it, and it's different. So I'll be messing around with it too, just to see what we can come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a bunch of new content planned out for 2023. So keep that in mind as we head into next year. Tomorrow, Charles and I will be back. We're going to do Aqueduct. Friday, Tom and I, of course, as always, for Foreign Fridays. On Saturday, it'll be Charles and I again for Del Mar. They have a trio they have it's 3 or 4, I think, stakes races out in California. And then, of course, Monday we'll be back. Terry will be coming on Wednesday and Thursday next week. Charles and I will do Parx Monday and Tuesday. So flipping around the schedule a little bit. Sean, next week, you're going to be back with Jamie. So what do you guys got lined up?
So on Monday, we got trainer Chelsea Mosey. And then Tuesday, we got a young jockey, Bryson Butterfly. And then Wednesday, we got Jessica Pfeiffer, another young jockey. That
sounds like a fun weekend there.
Yeah, a lot of young people coming up in the sport. It's funny how people say there's not young people with the sport and stuff, but there's a lot coming in.
Oh yeah, no, there's a great influx of young talent across the board. So I think you're going to see a lot of these names riding in the big races in the years to come. Like we have a Kylie Jordan riding down there in the Breeders' Cup. So hopefully we'll see her with Tyler's Tribe, even at the Kentucky Derby, because she invited us into the winner's circle. If that happens.
yeah, we've had a lot of invites, so we'll have to start.
Well, one of these days we got to cash one of them, right? We haven't had
absolutely
one yet. All right, Sean. Well, any final thoughts before we get up out of here and close up this week and you reach for the tissues?
Yeah, it's already Wednesday and we're already done. So, unfortunate again, but hey, we'll be back next week and I'll be busy and we'll all be busy looking for, doing more content. Since we
Indeed, for sure. There's a lot of great stuff coming. Keep an eye out for all of it. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. No matter what you're doing for the rest of the night till we get together tomorrow. For Aqueduct, we hope that everything that you do, Sean, ends up in
the winner circle.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Have a fantastic hump day night.